Hi, everybody. Just letting everybody get logged on. Hello, hello. Got some things I want to talk about today. Admit, David, admit. Sorry, I'm letting people in, just getting everybody logged on. Getting everybody on here. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
How was your fishing trip?
Whoa, I had so much fun on my fishing trip. You have no idea. Okay, so for the very first time in my life, I caught a shark. And I know it's not a good thing on a boat when you catch a shark because you can't keep it. You usually lose all your gear, but I didn't. I caught the shark and I grew up swimming in the coastal waters, surfing, bodyboarding, boogie boarding, the whole thing. So for me to catch a shark was amazing. It felt like, sorry, I'm letting people in. It felt like the hunter became the hunted, or however that goes. I was just, it was different. I didn't catch a big shark. I caught a 4 foot soup fin shark, and we let it go. We got the hook out of him, no problem. But after that, I was so excited. I just went and sat down, and I was sitting there, and of course, the crew's coming by to check on me. Patti, are you okay? You're not fishing. I'm like, I caught a shark. And it's actually not a good thing when you catch a shark on a boat because it messes up everybody's lines. I didn't. I kept it right in one area. I kept it real tight. It kicked my butt. It whipped me around. It rolled like an alligator. It was insane. But we got him set free, and it was just awesome. I was ecstatic after that. Like a little kid, I just sat there. It was a bucket list moment for me, if you will. And it wasn't a big shark. It was only about 4 foot. I'm 4'8", so it was big to me.
I've done that before. The only thing you have to be careful when you unhook them, they can bite you.
Well, they unhooked it with a gaff. They won't even let it come on the boat because they don't want it to get anybody. So no hands touched the shark. They were able to wind the gaff around my fishing line and then unhook it from the shark, and I got all my rig back. So it was perfect the way that they got him out. He swam off, everything was fine. But yeah, they don't bring them on the boat. Nobody needs to lose any fingers. And then after that, I just sat there for a while, a good hour, not fishing. And they were worried about me, I think, but I was just ecstatic. And then I went and caught my limit on white sea bass, rock cod, ling cod. I got a really pretty red they actually put on their website. So I was really, really pleased with that. So had a really good fishing trip, probably one of the best fishing trips I've had in a long, long time. Thank you to you guys, some of you more than others. Um, there's some things I want to talk about today, and I'm going to write an article about this. And you guys know me, if I'm going to write an article about something, it's got to have some clout behind it. So check this out. While we were sleeping, and a lot of us know about this, especially if we own properties in an HOA. Wait, Patti, what are you talking about? So I hope there's some of us that own properties in an HOA. And for those of us that don't own properties in HOAs, you still need to listen and pay attention because what we may see happen in the future is going to make more sense to you. Okay? On July 1st of this year, Gavin Newsom passed a new law called AB 130. Hold on. Somebody's just getting on and joining us. Melanie, let me know when you can hear me because she needs to know this, you guys. She manages stuff in HOAs. Melanie, are you there yet? Just let me know when you're there because I'm going to talk about this and it applies to a lot of the stuff that you manage.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so on July 1st of 2025, Gavin Newsom passed a new bill regarding HOAs. It's Assembly Bill 130. It's already in play, okay? And everybody's talking about it like it's great news. What it's doing is it caps HOA fines at $100. $100, okay? for us that have properties in HOAs, we're ecstatic inside because we're like, yes, now the HOA can't come attack. It's only $100, right? Hold on a second. Does that mean if someone moves into our HOA communities and doesn't follow our guidelines, we're losing that uniformity because at $100, we're going to be less likely to be able to enforce that in court. Some of those HOA fines and violations become a financial burden on the landlord, and that's why we're issued evictions, right? If it's only $100, we are probably going to lose that as a financial burden as part of our cause of action. What did Patti just say in simple English without using legal terms? It's going to be hard for us to place an eviction on a nuisance that's being caused at an HOA because it isn't causing us grave financial hardship.
And Patty, it's only a single time. It's not a daily rate.
Yeah. So think about that when we've ever used that as a nuisance claim to get somebody out of a property. We may find it more difficult to do, but we're not going to know until we go through the trials and tribulations of how this unfolds. But everybody's looking at it from one side and not both sides. Please look at it from the other side of the coin. We have to have forward thinking when some of these things happen and we're like, yes, we got to go, wait a minute. Is there a yes? Are we really winning this? Or is this smoke and mirrors again? So for those of us considering purchasing property inside an HOA as a rental, I don't think that would be in your best interest because the teeth and the enforcement that we got from that is no longer going to be there. Okay? So very important. I got people coming in the waiting room. So I'm just going to repeat it very quickly and watch the replay because some of you need to know this. If we're managing properties or we own properties inside an HOA, Gavin Newsom passed Assembly Bill 130 on July 1st, capping HOA violations at $100. Okay? It's good news, but it's not if you're using that as a cause of action in your eviction. We may see that removes the financial burden on the landlord, and now that nuisance has less teeth. Okay? So when you're looking at purchasing investment property, you may not want to purchase in an HOA because prior to this, it was a great thing because the HOA helped monitor the way the tenants lived on the outside of the property, at least, right? They have to bring in their trash cans at a certain time. They can't leave their garage doors open for more than a certain amount of time. They have rules and regulations. What colors can be painted, what hanging plants can be there. I mean, they go into depth and breadth, okay? And for people that don't want to live in a neighborhood with a bright purple house with yellow trim, hey, I like the Lakers, but come on. I get it. I understand. They're very uniform looking neighborhoods. HOA is called a homeowners association, just so everybody knows. And I don't think we're going to have that uniformity now that they're capping it at only $100. I think that it's going to end up giving the tenant a lot more leeway. But what do I know? What do I know? We'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's going to take a code enforcement violation, not an HOA violation. Ooh, makes sense? And if that's the case, are we going to lose that uniformity because there's not enough teeth behind the uniformity provisions? I'm just saying. I don't know what's going to play out because of this, but I don't know that all of it's good. That's all I'm trying to say about the HOA bill.
It's not just tenants, but owners, that want to do things. It's
Exactly. Well, usually owners that purchase in an HOA are understanding of what those rules are right in the beginning, and they're ready to comply. They want to live that way. And when it becomes a problem is when you have a tenant that doesn't want to live under that uniformity. They just want to live there. Okay, that's when that becomes a problem. That's why I put it on tenants and not on owners. For the most part, we don't have a bunch of owners that consistently rack up HOA violations. They just don't want to be foreclosed on. I mean, let's face it. But I think with this new cap of a maximum fee, we're going to see a shift in that side of the industry. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Also, everybody please clap out loud for Holly. She got a red paper in her window.
Yay.
Yes,
Finally.
she got her house back. She got her house
Thank
back.
you, Patti.
No, thank you for hanging in there and for helping all of us understand the trials and tribulations you've been going through, because it reminds us what it's like to be a homeowner in a bad position.
Yep.
But
Yep.
for you, Holly, it could have been so much worse. I know
Yeah.
what you're dealing with isn't wonderful,
Yeah.
but it could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
She got her house back.
Well, it's in quite the condition. If I could
Hey.
share pictures, war stories.
But it didn't cost you $80,000 through a jury trial to do it, you know?
It did not. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. The tenant never answered the court and we won by default. And the sheriff showed up last week and it got real for the tenant. So, yeah.
And what was your tenant doing when they didn't answer the door when the sheriff showed up, but they were there, right?
Oh, yes. The sheriff knocked 3 times, told them it was a lockout, come to the door. The tenant, we were kind of staking out down the street. We saw that the tenant actually took a short jog before it. And I thought he'll be in the shower when they arrive. But, so he did not open the door, and the sheriff told us he was in the process of getting high when they came in. The tenant says the sheriff had guns drawn on him. The sheriff did not have guns drawn on him. So, and then he got his 5 minutes to grab his backpack and get out. And we went inside and did the happy dance. Yeah.
There's something real powerful about that red piece of paper, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, we have Ring cameras up and we noticed one of his friends came by the other day and was knocking on the door and saw the red flyer and did a double take and was like,
Yeah.
evicted. We're like, yep.
Yeah. So don't come back, okay?
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Don't come back. Well, I'm happy for you. I know everybody else is happy for you. We know what that feeling's like, and it's wonderful when you get the unit back and you don't have to
Yes.
go over hurdles to get there, you know?
Yes.
There's
And
something
hiring-
about that.
I will share that Patty's recommendation of security, the security guy was worth every single penny as we were in the unit that day, and another person showed up who was not too happy, and I don't want to think what would have happened if we didn't have someone between us and that person.
And how did this person act? Like you were a movie star, huh?
Oh, yeah, this person was
I know.
livid. And
But he comes unglued very quickly in your defense and where you're not in a position where anything's going to happen to you. It's crazy.
yeah, I just said, sorry, I don't know who you are. You will not be entering this house. And I closed the door and let my security handle it. Yeah.
Okay, so just so you guys know, I have a security guard friend. He became my friend in the industry, just like most of you have by however happenstance we met, right? And he's an ex-Marine, ex-law enforcement, ex-Coast Guard, great guy, a little guy. You didn't think he'd be a little pack of dynamite, but I've actually had him protecting me at an event once and saw what she's talking about. And it really does give you this great sense of security, the way he handles eliminating the threat, for lack of a better way to explain it. And he does a great professional job at it. He gives you this warm and cozy feeling of, yes, I got my house back and you can't hurt me. You can't come near me. This is awesome. He really does give you that sense of empowerment back. And if you have a troubled or a problem tenant, don't try to figure that out on your own. Take somebody with you that will, and watch my words here, absorb the liability. Got it? Yes, he does know the legal process. He is ex-law enforcement. He's very familiar with how it goes, what the rules are, yada, 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 yada. And if he has a question, guess who he calls? So again, part of the extended family, he covers all of LA County, San Diego County. Wait a minute, Holly, just unmute yourself. Talk, baby. What happened? Tell us what happened.
No, just I was really panicked about the whole changing the lock situation. You know, they make it seem like you got to change that lock in seconds. And my husband is an amazing locksmith, but of course he was having a little trouble that day because the tenant had kind of messed up the lock. But having our security with us, Chris, they didn't even wait until the lock. They were like, "Oh, we see you have this situation secure," and they left. And Jordan, my husband, was able to, breathe.
Well, he is ex-law enforcement with both City of San Diego and City of Los Angeles. Just so you're aware. And yes, you can ask for a ballpark in processing. How much does he charge for something like that as a ballpark?
It was a flat for 10, essentially, or 8 hours. I mean, I think around $800, I think, worth every penny for us to be able to close the door and then on the property and start assessing what we needed to do and cry
and not have to look over your shoulder
and not worry about a crazy person showing up at our door.
Yeah. No, I've utilized his services too. You have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, my husband is from Brooklyn and I'm sure he could handle himself, but I would never want him to be in that situation.
I had something really weird happen and I'll share with everybody because it's a great story, but it's really weird. Chris was sitting at me with a trade show. I had something happen at a previous trade show where a tenant showed up and started yelling at us because we were the attorney of record. Remember, I worked for an eviction law firm. Okay. So I was confronted at a trade show, yelled, screamed at, and I didn't ever want to be put in that position again. So I asked Chris if he'd come because I didn't trust the area of this next trade show that we were going into. Mind you guys, this is way pre-COVID, okay? Back when they'd have trade shows in downtown LA, in the convention center, and they just opened the doors and the homeless would walk in and trick or treat at your table to get your free food, your candy. What do you got here to eat? They're coming up to you yeah. So I asked Chris, would you come and hang out in my booth with me? And he says, yes, of course, I'll come hang out in your booth with you, blah, blah, blah. So the day goes by, everything's fine. It's the end of the day, and Chris leans over and tells me, I'm going to go ahead and take off. And while he's leaning over talking to me, I'm locking eyes with somebody from about 75 yards away. And I'm trying not to stare at him, but I'm definitely watching him because he's making a beeline straight towards me. So all I can say to Chris at that time is, can you wait a few minutes? Somebody's giving me the creeps. And he goes, give me a description. And all I could say was gold glasses, black shirt. And when Chris turned around, the gentleman in question is at the table with his shoulders hunched forward like this in my face going, I want to ask you a question. And I'm like, hi, my name's Patti. How can I help you? I'm very calm about the whole thing. Chris has his hands on the table and is giving him the cop stare, if you will, looking him up and down, watching every movement his hands make, everything he's doing. The guy was just weird. Okay? So I go to hand the gentleman my business card and he lets it fall on the ground, but I don't bend over to pick that up. I reach over and grab another one and hand it to him. And he goes, oh, I can't touch that. It has green on it. And I don't touch things that are green. And I said, oh, that's strange. Do you have a problem touching money? And he said, money's not green. And I went, oh, okay. Because, this is a you problem, not a me problem. So he hands me his business card and I just allow it to hit the table face up so I can see it. And he says, okay, bye. And he starts walking out. Well, he didn't just walk away from the booth. Chris followed him. He didn't leave the booth. He left the venue. So it was like I was the last person or the first person or the only person he came to talk to. And then he left the venue. Chris got his license plate number. I mean, he was in cop mode, but he comes back and he goes, that guy was really weird, but he didn't do anything else. He left. And I said, really weird? Look at his business card. And he goes, where is it? I said, on the table. I'm not touching it. And he goes, why? I said, because he's a florist, but he doesn't touch green. Right? Everybody's all. So really weird circumstance. Was really glad Chris was there because I felt really comfortable and secure. So I get that feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about. And for anybody that has a tricky situation, don't try to figure it out on your own. Don't go try to be Billy Badass and handle this on your own. I don't. I call Chris. Okay, I'm 4'8", you guys. I will not win in a fist fight. Not in a fist fight. It's just not going to happen. So with that being said, don't put yourself in a position where something could get ugly. Take security with you. It makes sense. You're worth it. I promise. You are. You're worth it. And then you can call it a lockout service potentially and bill it back to the tenant.
Yeah, we're going to use Chris again this weekend when we allow the tenant to come in and take their possessions. I may even have two security guards just because I don't know who the tenant will bring with them.
One watching inside the house and one
Yep.
watching outside the house makes
Yep.
total sense when you have drug users, hoarding, anything weird going on.
Yep.
It makes sense to have. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah. I was also thinking of calling the local police department, let them know what's going on and ask them to do a drive-by. What's your thought on that?
Here's the reality of what you're asking me. They used to do things for keeping the peace or extra drive-bys. It's like pulling teeth. Let's face it. Is why you had Chris there so that he could handle the situation and then call the police?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Because you don't want to handle the situation and then call the police?
Right. Right.
We're going to call the police and then the situation is going to handle us.
Right.
While we're waiting.
Right.
So that's why we have him in play. He's there for a reason. And if you have that feeling, utilize it.
Right.
No. I call it something. I call it it's rude, but we all have this thing with us. Okay. Some of us call it our intuition. Some of us call it our red flag alert. When the hair on the back of your neck stands up and something doesn't feel right.
Yep.
Listen to that. All of you, listen to that. Okay. That I call it my asshole alarm. Okay. Because there's an asshole that's about to do something to you. You better be paying attention. Something's gonna. So that's what I call it, is my asshole alarm, because it's still warning me, red alert, there's one nearby, something's going to happen. So that's what it is for me. And pay attention to that intuition. If you have that feeling, do something about it. We know that our law enforcement is overworked, overstressed, can't respond to an emergency quickly, especially if there's an altercation. Unless there's firearms being drawn, something along those lines. Having somebody there that's familiar with law enforcement is a great assistance because they can do all that communicating for you so you don't have to.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and you guys, at the end of the day, if you're paying for a lockout service, that is something that could most likely be billed back in the disposition of security deposit.
Really? So I think it was like on my legal bill, like 250 or something like that. I can put that in my disposition.
Well, I have to look at your lease contract because your lease contract controls.
Okay.
It may have a cap saying that your attorney's fees are capped at $500. Okay? That means your attorney fees for when you went to court. Did you have any attorney's fees? No.
No.
You had legal expenses, didn't you?
Yes. Got it. Okay. Yeah. We use the AGLA lease from 2021, so I don't know if it's updated. But
So basically, if you have court filing fees, those are court filing fees, not attorney's fees.
Got
Make
it.
sense?
Yes.
So sometimes you can break down the expense of that way. Attorney's fees are capped in your rental contract, so you have to stick to that amount.
Right.
Okay? But anytime you paid a filing fee or a motion fee, that's a fee to the court, not an attorney fee.
Got
The
it.
appearance fee that went with it would be an attorney fee.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Our
Now
disposition.
you know why we want our bills
Uh-huh.
itemized.
Oh.
Because
Right.
if we have an itemized invoice and it says court filing fee, demur filing fee, ex parte notification fee, and then it says attorney appearance fees, attorney's fees are capped. Everything else is a court fee you paid.
Right.
That's why you want an itemized list on everything that you do.
Got it.
Okay, I got questions coming in. We got pricing. Okay, for Chris. Linda, the tenant has mold in the bathroom, is saying she may be sick. Thank you for suggesting PRC. They came out today, saw mold and suggested testing. If tenant washed the wall ceiling around the window, the mold would be gone. Do you suggest we have the testing done when this is tenant caused? Hold on to your hat, okay? Linda, and help me help you, okay? Even though it's tenant caused, you landlord, have the responsibility to correct it when it's a habitability issue. Even if it's tenant caused, okay? This expense could potentially be billed back to the tenant if the licensed professional will give you a cause of being improper housekeeping or something along those lines. Improper ventilation, improper housekeeping. If in fact it's found to due to a water leak, then is it an unreported water leak that could be billed back to the tenant? I don't know. Haven't seen the reports. Don't know what they're willing to put in writing, but that's where it's going to matter of who's responsible for the expense. And I hope that makes sense to you. But you landlord have the obligation to remediate upon notification. Simply said, fix it as soon as you're notified. If you can bill the expense back to the tenant, then I'm always about that. But if you can't, you can't. So PRC's saying testing, they're the professional in the industry. I would do what they say.
Okay, Patti, that sounds reasonable. Thanks.
Because I'll tell you right now, if they sent an inspector there or a mitigator there to look at it and it was surface mold due to lack of cleanliness, I'll tell you right now, they would have put that in writing and said they need to clean it up. They wouldn't ask for testing.
I see. Okay.
So for them to ask for testing tells me there's something else going on. They don't test for no reason. Hang on, wait, let me ask you one really important question. Did you tell them Widget sent you?
Yes.
Okay, they would have told you that surface mold, all they need to do is clean it up. They would have put that in writing, okay? Because they're asking for testing, they want to be sure before they open their mouth.
Oh, okay.
Make sense?
Yes, thanks.
No problem. but they would have told you if it was just, for lack of a better way to say this, surface mildew. In other words, you know that little black strip that grows in your bathroom sometimes if you don't keep it clean and well ventilated?
Yeah.
That's what is cleanliness or lack of ventilation. Both of those fall on the tenant, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay?
Okie doke.
But if it's due to a water leak, then we have different issues. How long has it been leaking? Why didn't the tenant notify us? Ah, there's the key. Why didn't the tenant notify us?
Yeah.
Okay, so it just depends. It depends. It depends. We have to see how the cards unfold. Okay,
Okay.
no problem.
Patty, one more time, can you just say the difference between mildew and mold?
Yes, they're both microbial growth and only can be identified by a licensed industrial clinical hygienist. I am neither, so I don't use the M word. Look at it this way. If you say mildew, your tenant's just going to go whatever. If you say mold, they're going to go, oh, I've been sick lately. I have these horrible headaches. Mold causes respiratory failure. Can't breathe. Okay? That's what it causes. They can't breathe. Respiratory failure, not puking, not headaches, not the virus that's going through the schools. And I'm just trying to tell you, as soon as you say mold, they're going to tell you how sick they've been. That's why we don't use the M word. We use the word growth, microbial growth, or just growth. Because let's face it, as soon as somebody says mold, we all get scared, don't we? We do, right? We all go, oh, mold. Do you guys like blue cheese? Hey, last time you got sick, did your doctor give you penicillin? These are all forms of mold. There's over 244,000 types of healthy mold and only a handful of toxic ones. Okay? All mold isn't bad, but we need to stop using the M word because it's all bad in society. Got it? I did not have mold, but one tenant had a leaky toilet. We replaced the wax ring. Months went by. Tenant called, said still leaking. Tank had a crack. Contractor replaced with a new toilet. Months went by. Tenant called and said the floor was spongy. Contractor went and found entire bathroom was destroyed, subfloor down to the garage. I filed an insurance claim since contractor estimated $10,000 in damage. Still fighting with the insurance, and they may not pay anything. The real because it was old galvanized pipes. Still hoping the insurance pays something. I'm with you, baby. I hear you. There's an outside mitigator you can get if the insurance company totally doesn't want to do. Have you tried getting a public adjuster? That's what I was after.
Oh my God. Poetry.
A public claims adjuster is somebody you can hire outside of the insurance company to work the claim for you. Google them, baby. I don't know. You're looking. I think that if I'm wrong, somebody tell me I'm wrong, but I believe it's called a public insurance claims adjuster. And when you don't like the amount your insurance company is giving you and you've hit a stalemate with them, sometimes you can call a public adjuster. You will pay them. Okay. But sometimes they can do a much better job or at least advise you. And I'm hoping I'm going through the Rolodex in my brain. That's what you guys are seeing happening right now because I'm not sure that's what it's called.
It is, Patty.
It is? Okay, thank you. I just needed somebody to go, yes, you are right.
I'm looking to see if I have the name of this woman.
Okay. Thank you, Arlene. So it's a public claims public insurance claims adjuster. And basically they don't work for an insurance company. They work for the public. Okay. So that's the best way. And Val's saying something here. I spoke to one before on a huge claim on a house fire, and the private adjuster said they only handle over 100,000. Maybe he was a creep. Hey, you never know. I don't know. I would rather us try and find out and the answer is no, too bad, so sad, than not try at all. Right? All right. Anybody have anything else? Oh, I hear crickets. I hear
Oh, wait,
crickets.
I have a question if we're gonna.
I knew Chris was gonna pipe in at some point this morning.
At your lunch and learn, there was a guy who talked about using a commercial lease for parking or garage space.
Yes.
What's that about?
Let's talk about it, okay? And Chris is gonna go, oh, got it. Watch. When we put things on a residential contract, residential law applies, yes? If it's not a residential dwelling and it's only garage space, we can put that on a commercial lease and it's not subject to rent control laws because it's commercial, it's not residential, correct?
I don't know what the city housing department would say, but
No, that's why they're doing it, is they're arguing that it's commercial and it's not subject to rent control laws. So that's the argument, is it's commercial. The
But
only time it doesn't work is when you have a garage that has an interior door to the house that connects. Make sense? Like, in other words, I
what
can
about
walk,
what about my detached garage that's in a residential neighborhood?
exclude it from the residential contract. So the rental contract says excludes garage on premises. So now it is not part of that residential contract. And if you want to re-rent it or rent it to that tenant or a different tenant for the purposes of a garage, it doesn't go on a residential contract because you're not providing a residential dwelling.
And then I have another question. Do you have habitability issues in a detached garage since it's not livable space?
If it's excluded from the residential contract, no.
What about if it's not?
Well, could. I've had it bite me before because it was included in the residential contract and somebody's garage door opener wasn't working because they needed to change the battery. And I lost that court case for, I think they deemed me $680 for her
Well,
not being able to use the garage for a
I'm
year.
just gonna, I mean, I'd get a new garage door opener for them if it came to it. I'm not gonna fight over
It
that.
was the battery in the remote.
I know, but I'm just gonna change the battery for them. I don't really,
I know.
I'm not gonna chase windmills to win.
Right?
But I don't know. I have an issue. I don't need to talk to you about it in the meeting. It's,
I know, but I'm letting you know that's a huge thing they're doing in LA right now. That's how they're keeping them separated. And that's what
I
they're
just wish I could go back in time 6 months. That's all.
Say that one more time.
I just wish I could go back in time 6 months because then I don't have to worry.
Don't we all? Don't we all? All right, I saw something else come in. Let's get to it, guys. Arlene is giving you the number of a public adjuster, so make sure you get that. Arlene is a great reference, you guys. She's done business in LA and LA County in various areas and cities for decades. Girl knows her stuff, okay? She's got lots of good resources. You should see the beautiful cement work she had done at one of her properties. I saw it last week. Oh my goodness. You know how the trees grow in the neighborhood and it pushes up the sidewalks and creates this huge tripping hazard? And then the city comes and slaps freaking asphalt patches on it and it looks like garbage. Arlene found a guy that came and shaved it all down, made it all flat and smooth, and it's not a tripping hazard anymore. It's awesome. So she has great resources. Just try it. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to be told no. At least we're trying. I'm having great difficulty with CSC Service Works out of Texas. They have promised new machines for months with no action. This is where we're gonna lean on Chris a little bit, okay? And Chris is like, shut up, Patty. I can already hear him. But I'm gonna ask you, do you have your original contract found? And the reason I'm asking is because there's a lot of things that come into play with contract law and those stupid laundry rental things. And there's little loopholes you can get around. Like I had one where they sold the property and then the laundry service contacted the new buyer and kept taking money from them, but the new buyer never signed a contract, not once. And wouldn't let them cancel and tried to hold them to the contract that the old owner had that they never signed. And they had scared this owner and they paid for this for over a decade. I'm like, Chris is like, wait, what? I'm sure he's like, huh? So these laundry services don't make it easy to cancel. But if they're not complying with their part of the service, you may be able to terminate. Okay, that's what I said is may need to lean on Chris. And I'll already tell you exactly what Chris is gonna want. Let me see the contract you signed. Let me see the contract you've signed. So it has to do with contract law. If you want to email that to me, I will email it to Chris. If he has time and can look at it, he may give us an opinion. I can even look it over and tell you what I think would be my argument to fire back at them. So I'd be more than happy to help you, but you got to send us a contract so we can see what you agreed to. Holly, I have a question about security deposit disposition and getting repair bids before 21 days. Our rental has extensive damage and repairs. Trying to get written estimates before the 21 days is going to be hard. Everybody that you get in there right now, get them for an estimate. Call a contractor, call a painter, here, let me say this. Sometimes the quickest guy to answer you is the biggest operation. He's the most expensive, but not the guy you want to hire, right? But he has this whole team that can come give estimates. Get a free estimate from anybody to do all of it, baby.
Okay, so just estimates, not the final person I'm using.
Bingo!
Okay.
Bingo! Now you're getting it. And she's chuckling, which tells me the light came on and she understood. You called the bougiest contractor you can think of.
Right.
Call a restoration company. Hey.
Yeah. I mean, can I share with everyone the most ridiculous, disgusting thing we have to deal with? Our tenant buried his dog in the front yard of our property. He did not inform us of this. The neighbors are all aware. It's been virtually.
Wait. What kind of dog is it?
It was a 50-pound Shar-Pei pit bull, which I wasn't thrilled about the tenant having in the first place. He never asked to have that dog on the property.
So he buried it where?
In the front yard.
And he didn't bury it 6 feet down because there's a mound of dirt in your front yard?
Yes, very shallow grave.
And you've called various city officials to try to get help and no one can help you. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct. They're all useless. They said they'll take the dog. If it's out of the ground, they will not remove it.
So while everybody is going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that's what we're all thinking, right? If anybody could throw some ideas at Holly here, because I'm at a stone wall. Yeah. I'm dumbfounded. Because you could call Hazmat to come clean it up, like a restoration company.
Yeah, I did that. Yep. $3,800.
There you go. There you go. And and then it might be what you have to do. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if anybody else throws out anything, Holly. So let's see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But go ahead with your story.
My exterminator said no. Other exterminators said no. I've called animal rendering services. Yeah, exactly. I see somebody put day laborers would dig it up for it may come to that. I have
Yeah.
a family member who's like, I'll do it.
Day laborer, go to Home Depot and get somebody who'll do it for $10.
I know. I feel bad putting someone through that. It was buried in February. So I think at this point it's bones, but I can't guarantee that.
No, I would say probably not.
Yeah. And the tenant has no idea that we know. All the neighbors know. And they were kind of horrified. Nobody's missing this tenant, by the way. They're all happy he's gonna be gone.
Okay, you go unbury it and tell the landscaper to haul it away.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and everybody can learn from me. We dig it up, then LA Bureau of Sanitation will come pick it up. It's the digging it up that nobody
It's the
will do.
excavation nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
Things suck sometimes when you're an owner. But
Yep.
Hello.
This-
How is it?
this would be
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
This
Yeah,
sounds like
there wasn't too many
perfect work
people.
for day laborers.
I got you to fuck you right there.
All right.
You want something to drink? Water?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay. So if I have something else, I'll...
Oh.
Wait, go, fucking What's wrong?
I think someone needs to mute.
I did it. I figured it out. I fixed it. Yay.
I think this would be perfect for day laborers as long as you like explain to them what they're gonna find first.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I feel terrible. I feel terrible for the dog. The tenant let the dog run around the neighborhood. This was my other, while going through an eviction process, I discovered that the dog was running up and down the street, and that's obviously a huge liability for me. And I did call animal services to come out and cite the person living at that address. They said they did it. When I called back, they wouldn't confirm or deny if they did it. I mean, City of LA, I mean, just don't get me started. Like, they told me to call the police. Anyway, the poor dog got hit by a car. All the neighbors saw it happen. The dog wandered off into the neighborhood and died in the neighbor's yard. And then that neighbor went and knocked on my tenant's door and said, "Can you come get your dog?" And he begrudgingly did it and then buried it in the shallow grave. You could not, American Horror Story, the TV show, it was happening in my property as far as I'm concerned. It's just horrible. But we're going to burn some sage and paint the exterior and move on.
All right, and Val, did you see Chris's response there in writing? He's telling you you may want to tell them that you want to rescind the contract. Since it's been modified and nobody's complying, it could be an option. Rescind means to take back. It's a legal term. Look at it this way. If we accidentally serve the wrong notice to a tenant, we rescind it and serve the correct notice. Kind of like a takeaway, if you will. I'm taking this back.
Those coin operated washing machine companies are a nightmare to deal with. Their
Yes,
contracts
they-
are very,
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
very hard to get
They
out of.
think the law is beneath them, and they do some weird things in their contracts, okay? They tried to tell me that because the owner passed away and his daughter inherited the property, that they inherited that contract with them too. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I told her, unplug those machines and put them in the front yard and notify them immediately that it is off of your premises. And they should come pick them up before somebody steals them. The triplex with the laundry machine issue has had high water bills for over the past year. Without going through rubs, I could just send out a 30-day notice that each tenant pays an additional $20 for the water bill. If they're all on a month-to-month tenancy, you could do that with a 30-day change of terms. You could also take the water bill, what the average is, and then just divide that and do a rent increase for that amount as long as you haven't done rent increase for this year. Remember, one rent increase every 12 months. They'll
You
see
can't do
one
that
of our,
LARFO though, I don't think.
she's in Kern County, different set of facts. All of Val's property are up in Kern County. I'm sorry, we should have just closed that right out of the gate. Okay? So she's not subject to any county rent control ordinances or any city rent control ordinances. She is only governed by the state. So she's governed by AB 1482 and that's it. Okay, so she could do this through extended, you're gonna have to do it as a utility, change in utility expenses, not as a regular rent increase. So you're correct. You need to specify that it's for the water bill, but I would do it that way. Just specify that it's increased for water usage. It's a water usage fee. There you go. One of our properties has a no pet policy. If someone calls and says they have an emotional support pet but wants to apply, are we required to allow them to submit an application? They'll see. I'm going to use this as an example that I've been trying to teach people for decades, okay? Pretend it's not a pet. If they're calling it an emotional support animal, then they have a doctor's note. Once they have a doctor's note, it's not a pet anymore. What is it? It's a wheelchair. So let's rephrase the question, but remove all of it and say wheelchair, okay? At one of our properties has a no pet policy. If someone calls and says that they have a wheelchair, remember, because they have a doctor's note, do we still allow them to submit an application? Yes. Patty, why are you referencing a pet as a wheelchair? It is not. Once they have a doctor's note, it becomes no different than someone in a wheelchair. It's required by a medical doctor, just like a wheelchair, just like crutches, just like hearing aids. Are you paying attention? So now, because a doctor is involved, we need to look at it like it's a disability. Do we have to allow somebody that has a wheelchair apply for a second story unit? Absolutely. Absolutely. And when they wheel their wheelchair up to the bottom of the stairs, we look at them and say, okay, I'll meet you up at the unit and you start walking. What they do to get up there is none of your concern. If they get up there, they get up there. That's how that works. It can no longer be written by a pastor or a real estate broker. It has to be a medical professional. So yes, a therapist is a medical doctor.
Not all are.
It has to be from a licensed medical doctor.
That would be a psychiatrist who's practicing therapy.
Thank you for the clarification. And they have to be seeing their patient for at least 30 days before they write the note.
Yeah, but that's easy to fake.
Yeah, they
Why-
do a lot of things where they
And
do
it
a
has to
lot of
be in-state.
communication back and forth in the beginning with the landlord to wait for the 30 days to expire before they provide the note. And that's how they're getting away with that.
You are allowed to ask for the note, and you obviously can make sure that
And
the
if they
doctor
say,
actually is
oh, I'll be
licensed.
providing you a note, this patient's under my care, but they don't provide the note, it's because they can get civil fines and penalties on that doctor if they're not seeing them for 30 days before they write the note.
And they have to be in state also.
Yes. And they have to reside within the state of California. What if they don't have a doctor's note and it's one of those fake online letters? Then there's civil fines and penalties for fraud against the doctor that provided it and the tenant.
Well, yeah, but are there some that it's like not even a real doctor, or are you just talking about the letter mills like there used to be for like medical marijuana?
She's talking about the letter mills, and it's the same thing with ESA animals. They'll even give you a little vest and a patch that says that they're in an ESA database. It doesn't freaking exist. Okay, it's all, they're charging the tenant to get them to buy all this crap that is good for nothing. The only thing we're looking for is a doctor's note within the state of California. Period. End of report.
Right, but you can check that they actually have a valid, currently not expired, not removed, medical license with a medical board.
Yes, and you can ask them if they've been seeing this patient for 30 days or longer. That's about all you can ask.
Yeah, but it's like when a vendor or a contractor or somebody assures you they have insurance, right? They can get the insurance policy and cancel it and provide you with the proof of insurance that's no longer valid.
Yes.
You actually have to call the insurance company on your own and verify that the policy is still in effect.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying in a similar manner, you actually need to make sure that you really, it's worth like 60 seconds on Google to figure out whether the doctor's like a real doctor or not.
Do you want to know what I do instead?
Sure.
I just allow pets.
Right. But, not all of us want to do that.
I completely and totally understand. But when you advertise no pets allowed, can I tell you what that says? It says to me, I have a support animal. I know, because I could get a doctor's note at any given time. But I got an emotional support animal. But my emotional support animal is dog aggressive. So I want to live in an apartment community where they don't allow animals so that I don't have to deal with that as a pet owner. So you guys need to understand when you're advertising no pets allowed, you're creating a problem for yourself for somebody that has a dog aggressive dog. Cause, action. Other side of the coin, okay? If I have a dog aggressive dog and I'm trying to rent an apartment, I'm going to rent an apartment that has no pets allowed so I don't have to deal with my dog running into other animals.
How do you enforce a need to be licensed?
I'm sorry?
How do you enforce, and someone's asking a question, does the emotional support animal need to be licensed? And I'm thinking you could easily make it be a rule, no?
That's between the city, and the city has rules. They may have a leash law. They may have a license law. They may have a spay or neuter law. What I'm trying to tell you is it's not your rules. It's the city's rules. And you want to use that hat, trust me. Because if the city only allows 2 dogs and 1 cat per household, that's the city's rule, not your rule. And that's why you can't allow 8 cats to live in the house, because the city won't allow it.
Right, but isn't there a way to, I want the emotional support animal to be licensed.
They have to comply with the city rules and regulations. It's a requirement of the city. They're above you. So yes, you would need to have all your city licensing and stuff in order, shot records, etc., because that's a requirement of the city.
Well, what I'm saying is, where do you put that in your rule book, in that you put it directly in the lease?
It's already there. There's a paragraph in your lease contract off the top of my head that says that the resident must comply with all city and government rules and regulations. Is that not correct?
I don't know. I have to go read the lease again, to be honest.
It's in every lease saying that they have to comply with all city government rules and regulations. Having a licensed pet is a requirement of the city, then that's a requirement of the city. And it's much easier for you to say, sorry, it's not my rule, it's the city's rule.
But it's not a pet, remember?
I understand that, but they still have to comply with the city. And if the city looks at it as a pet, then the city looks at it as a pet. I don't think the city cares if it's an emotional support animal or not.
Patty, a quick question.
Yes.
Looks like now they require air conditioning in County of Los Angeles starting 2027. It says the temperature must be kept at 82 degrees Fahrenheit. But basically starting 2027. Can you tell me that's true and that's going to happen, right?
I've been telling you guys, get ready because it's coming. I can see the writing on the wall. I can tell you that it's going to come.
It has
It's not
happened
here
already.
yet, but it's coming. And it is coming. We will be forced to provide air conditioning in residential dwellings in some cities, not across the state.
It says in the unincorporated of Los Angeles, it is already passed.
There you go. So cities are making laws, ordinances requiring certain things. Some cities already have that in play. Okay, just so you know. And they've been in play for quite some time. Examples I could give you, okay? Palm Springs requires air conditioning. Palm Desert requires air conditioning. Indio requires air conditioning. Barstow requires air conditioning. Needles requires air conditioning. I have no doubt with the warming trend of our country, we're probably going to see this coming about in more predominant areas. I find it, and I'm not bad mouthing, but how do I say that? I see why they're making it a requirement in LA. Okay. Let me tell you what it is. Okay. There's a lot of humidity there because of the ocean across the whole coastline. There's a lot of humidity because of the ocean. So when you have heat come in, it makes it so humid and hot that it is unbearable at 90 degrees, right? I live in a very dry climate. 90 degrees is nothing. When it hits 105, it's horrid, but it's a different climate. So they don't have a requirement in Victorville, Apple Valley, Hesperia of air conditioning. It's not a requirement. It's a desert community. They've been used to this for a long time. It's usually not subject to triple-digit temperatures. However, with the changes of our planet, that's shifting. So I can see why they are requiring it in areas I thought they would never require it, and it's because of the humidity level. If you have a real dry heat, it's hot, right? But it's dry. If you have a real wet heat, it's miserable, right? If it's 85 degrees, 95 degrees and raining, it is miserable, okay? It's a sauna,
Hey, Patty, if you're done talking about that, can I ask a question that got skipped?
Yep, go ahead.
So, basic question: if changing light bulbs is not on the lease as tenant responsibility, is it assumed, implied that they need to change their own bulbs if they're not vaulted ceiling height?
You're not going to like my answer.
Okay.
At the end of the day, well, you're in San Bernardino County, correct?
This one is actually in Costa Mesa.
Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on. Let me get my head in their courtroom. Just give me a minute. Why can I not place myself in an Orange County court? Oh, there we are. Okay. Hang on. On your move-in walkthrough inspection, does it say the light bulbs are okay?
Yes.
Does it say that way on their move-out walkout inspection?
They haven't. No, they're a current tenant. And
they're a current tenant and they don't want to change the light bulbs?
no, here let me explain. Take 2 seconds to explain. So he tells me that his recessed lights in the master are not working, and so I said, "Did you change the bulbs?" And he says, "Yes, they don't work." So I sent my electrician down there. I get a bill for $360 for him to change out some bulbs, and everything worked perfectly. So the tenant lied and said,
bill it back to him.
"Huh?"
Bill it back to him.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm okay billing it back to him.
And you guys just, I would, if that was LA County, we would not be having this conversation. I would bill it back to him and see what the reaction is, see what the kickback is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be serving him a cure, quit, and starting an eviction for it.
Well, he's in the middle of an eviction. I just want to, and I'm going to add it to
Okay,
his
see,
bill.
all this helps me. He's in the middle of an eviction.
And you know, at the end of the day, he's going to pay. The guy makes $700,000 a year, but
Bill it back to him. The chances of him wanting to screw up his credit are going to be slim and none.
right. That's what I just want to make sure. But this question I could see happening on other properties that we manage as well.
I wouldn't do it in LA County.
Okay. Thank you.
I would approach it in a different manner in LA County. How's that? Bye, Chris. Thank you. Orange County gave permission for the entire South Coast Plaza to be torn down and turned into 1,583 housing units. Hey, I got a question for you guys, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to get in your head, okay? Okay. Everybody paying attention? Pay attention real good, okay? Okay. I recently did a lunch and learn in LA at the end of the month last month, okay? Koreatown, downtown LA. Driving from Gardena to Koreatown, okay? I'm going through several areas, you guys know. Where'd the homeless go? I noticed that the street vendors are gone, and I'm talking to you guys out loud. The guys aren't selling oranges on the freeway off ramps, and those little stands with the cut fruit aren't there anymore. Some of the flower vendors are there, but not like they used to be. All of those street vendors, for the most part, are gone. And so are most of the homeless. Where are they going? Hold that thought. Hold that thought, okay? They're going to break down shopping malls and build more housing. They're building housing everywhere. If you guys pay attention, you see a lot of framework going on in your own neighborhoods. Think about that for a minute. Okay? We're seeing framework going up. We're seeing building going on. Okay? Corporate America is sitting at a 10 to 15% vacancy rate. They're offering 2 months free rent on a 1-year lease if you move in. Come November, we're going to see those 1 month and 2 months of free rent becoming due. Okay? So back in November of last year, I saw a lot of corporate America do 2 months free rent on a 1-year lease, and a lot of people moved in. What they did was they amortized that 2 months free rent on a 1-year lease by giving them a discount of $500 a month off their rent. Okay? Rent's $3,000. Okay, we're talking about corporate America, big, huge apartment complexes all over the place. Okay? To get their units rented, they were offering 2 months free rent and amortizing that discount over the course of 12 months. Well, let's play the game, okay? So me, Miss Tenant, saves $500 a month on my rent for 12 months, right? But 6 months into me living in this new place, I have this extra money every month, so I buy myself a new car, right? So I'm making my house payment, making my car payment, and everything's happy-dory in my life. Until month number 12, when I get the renewal notice and it says your rent's going up $250. And I go, oh, okay, I can handle that. $250 ain't a big deal. But don't forget about that $500 a month discount you were getting. Now your rent went up $750 in 1 month. We'll see the results of that hitting us in November of this year. If corporate America is sitting at a 10 to 15% vacancy rate, and let's face it, hello, we're having trouble renting our vacant units, are we not? In fact, I'm going to go through a whole list of things and put an article out for AGLA on how to get your vacant rented. Okay, let's really dive into this. We're having vacancies. You guys don't want a vacancy right now. I'm telling you, lower your rents. Do what you got to do to get a qualified applicant in there. Lower your rents now. Okay. I know none of us want to lower our base rents, and I'm not talking drop it $1,000. Get right under market value. Get right under your competition. Get a little bit under there. Remember, if it's $100 difference, it's $100 the tenant isn't spending. They're more likely to come to you, right? I'll teach you guys all kinds of tricks on how to get your vacants rented. You can even ask for less of a security deposit. $500 moves you in on approved credit, OAC. Somebody with a 750 FICO score isn't going to mess up their credit over a house. Everybody I've ever rented to with a $500 security deposit has always gotten their deposit back unless they ask me to clean the carpets and deduct it from it. It's not your money anyway. And when they come to you and they say, oh, but I only have a 585 FICO. Well, I can still rent to you. You just don't qualify for the low security deposit. On approved credit. Got it? OAC. Hope that makes sense. Hope that clicks. Bye, Arlene. Oh, yeah, we're over the 1 o'clock. If anybody else needs to run, we can get off of here. But yeah, you know what I thought they should do? I thought they should turn the abandoned shopping malls into homeless encampments. Hey, put them all under one roof. Give them the services they need. Bye, everybody. Well, bye the people that are leaving us. I haven't left everybody yet. Does anybody else have any questions for me? Val, West Coast wouldn't have alligators. What do we have out here? I almost said something worse. Thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. And remember that HOA thing's going to cost us problems going forward. I can only see it now. Thank you, Holly. When you see Chris, give him a hug for me. And seriously, you guys, if you feel like you need security, take it with you. Listen to that alarm, whatever you call it, your intuition, your what do they call that when all of your hairs stand up and you're like firing on all cylinders and something's happening? If you feel that way, don't talk yourself off the cliff. Pay attention to that. Okay, we don't get those feelings for no reason. We just don't. All right, I'm gonna go see if I can't wake up the snoring machine over here and see if she wants to go outside to go potty in the heat. If you guys need anything, feel free to give me a call. Have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.